Yeah, over on my end, mainly Strive, right? Taking the opportunity to catch back up and make up for lost time, which I did do, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, yeah, and it's been that fun process of like taking it from the initial like stages of just like pressing buttons, having fun, dicking around, and now I'm like I said, I brought out some of the notes. I'm diving into some frame data, doing matchups, doing what's cool in this game, round call training mode. So you can set training mode to every time you restart the screen, it can go round one, like heaven or hell, duel one, let's rock.
Oh,
And
cool.
then you can test out like round start interactions. And
Oh,
that's
that's
been
interesting.
yeah, that's been very informative because you can literally practice these things. um and a lot of that, which I can get into, and I had some really fun discoveries, but like one thing that is very pronounced and interesting is the discovery of the latency in the different versions of the game that's come out and come to our attention. Which it's funny because uh, Reggie and I had a big talk about this too, because like we played we did like a first to 10 like on like when it first came, or not when it first came out, but like maybe like 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
um and like it went more so in my favor, but he didn't have as much time with the game. Then he came back and we did another set, and then he did like really really good, like he fucking stomped me.
Mm-hmm.
But I was also playing on PC for the rest of the day of that session last Saturday, and I had a
Mm-hmm.
really odd experience with it because I didn't know. It felt like something was just off, and I couldn't quite tell what it was, and I was wondering if it was a matter of lag issues, but it didn't feel like it, because but it was mentally, I wasn't sure what it was. And I didn't want to, and I remember I initially started playing with the 360 controller, and then I actually like unplugged it and switched over to the PS5 controller to be
Mm-hmm.
like, maybe I'm just feeling something different. Maybe it's, you know,
Yeah.
and I was very unwilling and concerned about like making excuses for me just playing like shit and everything being weird and having a hard time, because like legitimately at the end of the day, when you fucking you take an L, you take an L. You don't sit there and make Johns and excuses over bullshit. Um, so I just kind of was like, yeah, I don't know, something. But anyway, whatever, played. And I just had a really, and like I won matches later, I lost matches, but you can go back and you can tell in the episode, I'm really like having a weird day with the
You're
game.
having what I'd like to call internalized Johns. You're smart enough not to say it out loud, but in your heart, you're like, but why though? But what is this? This isn't right. John.
And I think like, and so we ended up talking about it, and then Reggie brought up that there was initial talks of a discrepancy because PS5 and PC, like there were issues that like you would get where if you put on VSync, you would increase the input delay
Yeah,
by
as
a
always.
bit. But he was mentioning that is like, but on console right now there is a bit more lag, and that like people are going with PC because of the mitigation of that. And I was like, oh, okay, interesting, maybe. And I was like, that could be the case, because in that case, it's not like I'm playing it one way, which is more responsive, and then I switch over to a less responsive version of the game. It was the opposite. I was playing it
You
with that like lag, and then switching over to that lag
and now
not.
you can't adjust to the speed.
But I
It's
just
too responsive.
but I was like, what feels different and why? It's interesting because like going the opposite way for just didn't register. So then someone who did a great job, and breaks these down on his Twitter all the time. And let me give credit where credit is due, because um, New Dallas on Twitter, Nigel Woodall, breaks down a bunch of this stuff and goes through the testing process and just posts a lot of information about like, yeah, input lag in these games that exists from port to port. And the breakdown of Strive on the different versions is that on PS5 you are actually playing with the most input lag. So you're getting 93 ms, which 93.60 ms, which is about 5.62 frames, right? And then everything from there going down has better performance. So here's what's weird: not only is PS4 getting a better a better input lag rate out of it, but if you play the PS4 version on your PS5, you're also getting a better frame rate, or not frame rate, excuse me, a better input lag number on that. So yeah, it's about 5.6 on PS5. If you play the PS4 version on your PS5, it's 4.9. PS4 itself, 4.7, 4.8 on the PS4 Pro. And then PC VSync on 0.7 and PC VSync off 0.68. So
hey, go fix that.
That is a 5 frame discrepancy between the two. And that's not insignificant. That's,
Go
that's
fix
there.
that now.
Mm-hmm. There's also accounting for, it's not mentioned here, but for some reason plugging in, I think, Hori sticks, they've noticed as well another modifier, like specific sticks create another modifier in the tests. So it's just a really weird situation because a lot of the time this goes the other way around. And it's very weird that, like, here now people are having the discussions about, like, oh shit, are we going to have a bunch of PCs for local? Is this going to be, what we do? Because consoles has always been the, like, easier way to go about this, like, offline tourney life.
I have a solution for you right now.
Mm-hmm.
You can fix this tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Take the PS4 version, the PS5 version, and the PC version, and increase the input delay to 100 milliseconds on all of them.
There you go.
Problem solved. They're all equal.
Yeah. Now, this is definitely, like, a thing that's like, please do fix in near future. I had such a weird time, where I'm like doing things and I'm like, even in matches that went well, I'm like, it doesn't. So that I'm like, all right, well, time to stay on PC and to keep, like, basically relearning there. So I redid my rankings and I'm repracticing and I'm relearning and I'm kind of going over everything again and getting used to reacting with the correct, thing, because I like, there are moments where, like, there's just, again, a little bit of a different feeling to, like, moments where you're getting wrecked in the corner when Milia's jumping all over your shit, when Chip is doing his Alpha Blade or his command grab and you have to react to the startup of him starting to teleport upwards or backwards behind you to cross up or jump. You need everything you can get on that. So yeah. So I'm taking the opportunity to go over it and relearn, because I was taught wrong as a joke. It turns out.
Just 6p it, man.
No matter what. Yeah. And this is also something that I think, like, I would say that, like, folks who are, like, jumping into their first Guilty Gear ever, or, like, jumping into one of their first fighting games ever, are not going to notice this difference. It's particularly microscoped, but it is the difference between a jab and not a jab, because 5 frames is about that amount of time.
The difference,
it's literally about the 5 frames is a jab.
I might switch over to PC as well. I don't know. It depends on if you can get a lot of matches there, because that's the difference between being able to jab that fucking dolphin out of the sky and not.
You don't rely on reacting to Totsugeki.
I know you don't rely on it, but you can. And I have.
Well, it's so there's a discussion about prediction versus reaction in fighting games, and you know, there is a in between state where it is I am predicting with information that expects you to do something here. All right, pre-action was the term that was kind of used
I like
in
that.
and it's essentially like I know I can't react to the startup of this dolphin, but I'm putting the button out, anticipating the rhythm of it, you know. And if it's the slow dolphin, he hangs out for a second, so you can react to that. But the faster one, it's like, yeah, you don't. I wouldn't rely on that too much. But this will help.
When I say I was jabbing him out of the air, or May out of the air, it's literally like he's gonna do that fucking dolphin, and then the instant the character's state changes,
exactly,
I hit the button.
Yes,
and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're just jumping, but they're not because it's the fucking dolphin. It's always dolphin.
They're standing in dolphin range, and they have stopped moving for a moment. Because if she's moving forward, she has no charge. But the moment she stops moving, well, now there's a charge, and now you just expect a dolphin. Yes, that's correct.
Motherfucking bitches.
But I bring this up because it's like I don't. If you're someone who's again brand new and you're playing fighting games for the first time and you're having fun with it, like, you know, don't feel as if like, my purchase is contaminated. You know what I mean? Because I would say that's not the case. You can still have tons of fun with the game, but this is something they need to fix, and they need to fix pretty quick, because for the better you get, the more it's going to be something you feel. And for anyone who's, you know, high tower and above that or playing this particularly competitively, this is like not even a discussion worth having. It's like no, you play the version that doesn't have 5 frames of input lag for sure, you know.
Ideally, I'd like to see. They said they were thinking about getting crossplay in on this.
They're one of the interviews mentioned it as a possible future development. I remember,
because this would obviously have to change before crossplay happen, right? You can't have some players fighting with fucking 5 times reaction time than other players.
Yeah. It's you're not experiencing the same matches. You're not experiencing the same game for sure. But you know, beyond that, the labbing process has been fun. I've been digging, trying to see what's out there, and it's funny because like Twitter and Discords are the new way to exchange fighting game knowledge, and it fucking sucks because it's so decentralized compared to the older days of like forum, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you used to go to SRK and it was right there. Or you go to Dustloop and it was right there.
Exactly. And thankfully Dustloop is still there, and Dustloop still has lots of great shit for you. When you go to those the wiki pages, they have the extended frame data breakdowns. They've got discussions of matchups. They've got like the full. They got all the info you really need to just like analyze the character and see what's going on. But as far as like tech goes and things like that, yeah, the forums were the way to do it. But forums have started to go the way of the dinosaur, unfortunately. So now you have Discord, some private, some public, that you got to go find. And in many cases, you have a hashtag on Twitter, So hashtag GGST _ and then like the character letters.
The character's code.
The character code, exactly. And that can be helpful, but it can also lead to a lot of like stuff that is, for lack of a better term, like useless, because like people that don't really know the game that well or fighting games that well might think they have something on their hands, but it's not real. It's not handy, so there's no real. But then you did used to see that too on the forums back in the days as well. But there'd be a discussion immediately to be like, oh no, that's not valid because of this, that, or whatever.
I still vividly remember going to the SRK forums and arguing for hours with Ultra David about how they should fucking ban training mode from events. And he was like, nah, man, they got to know that spacing. I'm like, I don't give a shit. It looks like crap, David.
And
That's the kind of shit you get to not have immortalized in a Discord server.
now, fortunately, having a Discord for a dedicated character does give you a lot of resources and matches and all the things that an old SRK forum section would back in the day. Like, you can find, if you find a good Discord for a character, then you can find a lot of knowledge, and communities actively sharing and talking and shit. But but at least in the SRK days, you could jump over to the if Makoto's doing really well at one event, suddenly everyone's staring at Makoto's page and going like, "Whoa, what the fuck is with this character?" And you can go see.
Nah, man. Discord's the way to go. You know why? Hidden tech. Let's go back to everybody not knowing anything.
Yeah.
Let's go back to that fucking Wild West nightmare.
Discords,
People are showing up to events and doing moves you didn't know were in the game.
Not a whole lot of players are gonna add Discords for characters they don't play, just to dive in and see what they're saying about matchups that you need to know about. You know, it's again the chaos of the modern social media era has affected how easy it is to get your hands on this information. Yeah, just stop learning. Exactly. Return to fucking monk.
Save it. Save it for when it matters. I want people to be pulling out secret tech out of their back pocket like it's an anime, man.
Yeah.
Nobody knows about this mix-up. I've never used it. Do I have to use it now? It's only top 8.
And we're also firmly in the time of like, hey, that's a pretty sick combo you got there. Now show me on someone other than Chip. You know, because everything is being done.
Chip
to
at max
risk. yeah. There's literally a little like a clip someone has of like Soul versus Kai in the video, like, you know, so instead of reflecting on themselves, they blame the beast. And Kai's like, hey Soul, I hear you got a pretty cool new combo. Yeah, you should check it out. It's a full touch of death. It's like, that's nice, but Dragon Install! Show me on someone other than Chip. You know, and it's like, yeah, there's shit where you see, even without Chip on max risk, there's some shit that got posted like yesterday or so where it's like Soul does a dust and then has full meter and then does 2 drift Roman cancels in the air and like drifts downward and just like basically like mashes S in the air and then
yeah, I saw that one.
And then drifts behind him and then keeps smashing S, and in the end he just does
like a Mugen video.
He just does jump S like 9 times and it's just a kill. It's a touch of death.
He's doing a little circle around him. It looks completely broken.
It's insane. It's completely insane, you know. But yeah, all of that's really fun. And also starting to implement and get used to playing around with fast Roman cancels, right? So this is a really
Those are hard.
But that's what they used to be. That's what they were. Back in the day, romantic, you're moving. There's no slowdown here. Exert brought about the Matrix mode, and I remember old heads were unhappy because they're like, oh, don't slow the game down. That, you know, fast is good. Fast means you have to keep up. My reaction speed's better than yours. But then it made it better for new players, you know. And in this case, it's like taking a system and going like, yes, same inputs. You have a thing that used to be really, really fast and hard in the older games, and now it's much easier to understand. And if you're new, you can just do a big pop, and it's raw, and it's very obvious you're doing it, and you can do some cool stuff afterwards. But if you cancel it before the bubble pops and just go right into the shit, as if you were playing old school Guilty Gear, you get better damage because that bubble never hits the guy, and you get better combos.
I have this really torn experience with Guilty Gear Strive right now. I'm playing it maybe once, maybe twice a week for an hour or two, maybe 2-3 hours. I wouldn't say I'm going super hard into it, but it's one of my like long-term rotation. Like, yeah, I'll hop on and play some Guilty Gear. And I've had such a great time with it. And most of the people that I talk to have had such a great time with it. And I'm torn because I talked to you and you're loving it, and I talked to my friend Jim and he's loving it. He's playing Soul though, so fuck him. And I go on Twitter, and there are two very nice people that I like very much that I follow on Twitter that literally complain about Strive every single fucking day.
It's a lot.
Every day.
It's a lot.
Every single day. And it's
Buddy,
always like,
buddy,
God, I wish this game didn't feel like shit,
I
dude.
mean, listen.
And it's like, man.
Hey, man. I like you. It's a lot.
It's
but you know,
and you
you're
keep
allowed
playing it every day.
You're allowed to say what you want in your own damn house, in your own front yard. And if you show up, if you show up to hear it, that's your fault. You know? And if the algorithm chooses to show it to you, then that's just the way the fucking cookie crumbles. It's a lot.
And the worst part about it is they're way better than I am. They're way better than I am. So when I talk to them and like I'll DM them about it, like, oh, I don't really understand what the problem is, and they'll explain it to me, and I go, yeah, but I like it when I do Potemkin Buster and I RC it into the grab, and it's fun.
Yeah, no, it's exactly. No, we're just it's KOF 13 again. So, you know, as we yeah. Isn't it fun to vague tweet buttons in real life?
Yeah.
Vague casting. We're vague casting right now.
Yeah. Hey, these people I actually really like. It's just I wish they would stop subjecting themselves to something that made them so unhappy.
Okay, here's the part of the video where he raises his eyebrows and makes a quirky face and goes,
Oh. All right.